the next thing in this section that he brings out about is the idea of the servant, an abd. The word abd has many meanings. At one level, it means a creature. In other words, it's something that's subservient to God by its very nature. So if you make something, it is automatically in a subordinate position by the fact that you have made it. It is subordinated to you, and it can't free itself from that condition. So the idea of an abd is the verse in the Quran 1993 is that everything in the heaven and the earth comes to Allah, Ar-Rahman, as a abdan. It comes as a servant. And so that's the general sense, that everybody is a abd of Allah. Now there are conscious servants and there are unconscious servants. There are servants that are aware of their ubudiyah, and there are servants that are not aware of this servanthood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the difference. So the servant, in its narrow sense, is someone who consciously serves God by following a prophet. And in a still narrow sense, a servant is a human being who serves God perfectly with full awareness and total freedom of choice. So this is the idea of the servant in its most narrow sense, is that the abd, in fact, is somebody who freely gives up his state to his Lord. And this is the gift that Muslims believe that God gave His creation. Because in the Quran, in Tawbah, the verse says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اشْتَرَى مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَنفُسَهُمْ وَأَمْوَالَهُمْ بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةِ. That God has purchased from the believers their wealth and their lives, and against that purchase is paradise. If God owns you in the first place, then how did you engage yourself in a transaction? How do you sell what is not yours? This is the gift. This is the gift. It's the gift of somebody who, if you come into a shop and he gives you something and then buys it back from you because he knows you're in need. So it's the idea of the fadl. It's a bounty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He, on the one hand, already possesses you, but on the other hand, has engaged you in a commercial transaction in which you become a partner. In other words, you become a free agent. And this is what the idea of takreem, of that human beings have been honored in that way, because everything else in creation can only be what it is. If you look out at creation, there is nothing that can be other than what it is. And this is something very interesting. A tree can only be a tree. It cannot be anything else. The dog can only be a dog, the pig, the horse, the donkey. Everything is determined in its attributes and its qualities except the human being. The human being can actually take on qualities that are strange to its nature. And you have mad people that will actually bark like dogs. You have people that behave like animals or worse than animals. And the Quran indicates that they're actually worse than animals. But hum adallu sabila, because animals do not do things that harm them with knowledge. An animal would never purposely harm itself. It will only do what it thinks is beneficial for itself. So if an animal sees fire, it flees from fire. Whereas a human being will actually do things knowingly that harm itself. And this is where the rational soul is overwhelmed by the irascible or the concupiscent soul, those lower energies in the self.